Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis of commodities. We'll take a look at a wide array of different commodities. I'll give you my financial opinion. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and then commodities and ETFs that I follow. If you guys need help with anything investment-wise, check out finding-value.com. Look at the Platinum membership. You can use the word discount to get a discount if you do sign up. And we do have a Platinum question and answer session at 5 p.m. Sunday, which is coming up. That's Mountain Standard Time. So let's dive in. We're going to start with the DXY relative strength indicator. We have strength today, not much, 0.14%, but we've had a massive move higher the past week in terms of trading session to the upside of the dollar. Overall, though, we have had a weakening in the dollar or the DXY. We've just had some relatively strong moves this past week. This does look like it could continue. I do not see a reversal candlestick, at least not yet, where the dollar could go higher. The 10-year yield is slightly lower. We're at that resistance line coming through here. If I were to kind of hug this thing up, that's kind of where we're at right now, is right on that trend line. Are we going to break higher and have the yields move on higher and bond prices lower? That's what we're looking for. Higher yields do put pressure on the overall stock market to go lower as it reprices net present value calculations with a higher interest rate. Bond prices up a little bit on the 20-year. So we've got lower 10-year, higher 30 and 20-year. So, well, I should say lower 10-year, a little bit lower 20-year, and higher 30-year yield. So the curve is normalizing or uninverting a little bit today. So bond prices do look like it could go higher in the short term on the 20-year. The 30-year yield slightly higher today at 0.13%. And we're also in this kind of larger, maybe flag formation or pennant formation that we've got going on here. And we'll see which way it breaks. TYX to TNX ratio, we're still above this long-term support line. And we've been moving back and forth in this gigantic megaphone type pattern. We've seen this megaphone pattern in a lot of different commodity stocks as well, as weird as that is, as we're getting larger swings in this ratio, which is the 30-year yield versus the 10-year yield. Think of this as the curve inverting. Think of this as the curve uninverting when it goes back up or normalizing. We're still very low, and today we went up a little bit where the curve is normalizing. Generally, that's a little bit better for precious metals, although we did have the DXY go up a little bit today, which is a headwind for metals. CRB index slightly higher day, up 0.05%. Still looking good for a move higher. We've got the CRB to S&P 500 also moving to the upside. Favorable for commodities to outperform the S&P 500, at least today it was. And we've got gold slightly, ever so slightly higher today, up at $3.37 per ounce. But again, with the strong selling pressure before it, I do think that this has a likelihood to pull back further in the short term. Silver also same setup. The buying pressure is not coming in here. I'm not seeing the buyers, so I'm going to favor a downside move in the short term. Platinum doing the same thing. We've got some stronger selling pressure through here. We did not bounce and do a strong close. We got more selling pressure, so we could move lower in the short term for platinum based off of larger selling pressure candlesticks, smaller buying pressure candlesticks. And I know some people say that's not technical analysis. It works. That's all I care about. It works. XAU to gold ratio. You can see here that we've broken this ratio to the downside. Now we've got a bearish engulfing pattern where this could head lower, meaning that the gold and silver mining companies could head lower in the short term against gold itself. So we are seeing weakness in the precious metals. We're also seeing that weakness transpire in the gold and silver mining companies as well. And I do think we could see a pullback in both. Here's GDX itself. You can see some selling pressure come in the past week. No big buying pressure days and no reversal candlesticks. So I do think we could pull back a little bit in the short term, maybe back to this support level at 29.80 or something. SILJ also slightly lower today, minus 0.85%, matching GDX. And I do think that this could potentially head lower as I don't see any buying pressure. This is a bearish piercing pattern today, which usually ends up moving to the downside. Crude oil looking strong, is strong, 1.64 or 1.63%. Nice little candlestick, finished quite strong today. This could head higher if it wants to move on up. That's what the momentum suggests. No reversal candlestick yet. Natural gas still hasn't gotten the big buying pressure. We've got more selling pressure today. Big selling pressure day. We could see further downside in natural gas. I am looking at the natural gas companies, kind of just watching them, and I'm waiting for natural gas to turn before I get, I'll say, uber bullish on any of the natural gas companies. And I'm not playing natural gas directly. I never played natural gas directly. It's always been through the companies. XOP, yeah, you know me, getting a little bit of selling pressure. This is a bloody nose. So maybe we can head higher with oil heading higher. Natural gas is weighing this sector down as it's oil and gas exploration and production. So we do have a split between oil and natural gas. Natural gas heading lower, obviously, and oil heading higher. OIH heading slightly higher today, looking actually quite good. If I were to throw kind of a trend line in here, these are on the closing prices. We're right there trying to break out. We got to break out and close above it, but energy service companies definitely looking strong. Longer, bigger picture view, this thing looks fantastic. Do it on logarithmic, looks even better. What this is, if I were to throw kind of a guy down there, this is a inverted head and shoulders, kind of. And then we've broken out, and hopefully we can get running. We can also see, this is on logarithmic here, if we go off logarithmic. And I kind of just take it from this. We've broken that downtrend there. So that's broken. We are heading higher. Everything looks pretty good from this perspective. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust slightly lower today. It is a bloody nose. That's generally a continuation pattern to the upside. It's just a small profit-taking day today. Uranium also getting a little bit more selling pressure. Are we going to sell off a little bit more? Are we going to come back to this support level down here? We'll find out tomorrow. This is a bearish piercing pattern where we could see further downside in the short term. Maybe we come back to this support level at 34.50 or so. And that's something to watch. And I do think that this is going to take a little bit of time to kind of work its way out. A couple of bounces or something like that. TAN also getting a bearish engulfing pattern where we could head lower in the short term. It has not broken out of that resistance trend line. And we're right up on it. So we could see a little bit of a move lower before heading on higher for TAN. COPX also heading a little bit lower in the short term. We've got some selling pressure coming here. Not much of a bounce for the buyers. We'll see where this thing heads. Maybe we got, I don't know where this is heading. It looks like to me like it wants to head lower. But in the short term, maybe we create some pattern or something like that in the short term. LIT slightly lower, no reversal candlesticks or anything. It's just a down day. REMX also slightly lower today. This is a bearish piercing pattern here where we could head a little bit lower in the short term. So maybe we come up like this, like an ABC correction or something like that. SPX, I mean, it's a down day, no reversal candlestick. It still looks pretty bullish to me where we could head higher in the overall market here. And then the NASDAQ also same thing. I mean, I wish this was a smaller down candlestick, but it's still bullish with momentum heading higher overall. EEM, slightly lower today, 0.12. This thing is just moving sideways. I do think it's going to eventually work its way down to maybe 37. Maybe it kind of works its way like that or something like that. And that's on emerging markets. XHB, which is the home builders. Again, no reversal candlesticks or anything here. We're above support. Everything looks good. we could get a return move back to that breakout before heading higher. Mu also right at support, just moving sideways. Nothing really to report here, to be honest. We've got copper. This is copper futures prices. I still think this is going to head a little bit lower, probably back to this support level. A breakout, and then we do a retest, and we'll probably do it in a kind of a fashion that looks like that. Lumber slightly lower. Again, we've broken out of this falling wedge pattern to the upside. We usually get some sort of return move. Maybe we come back to 420 or so on that return move. Iron ore, slightly lower today. And for some reason, this guy isn't updating, but we are slightly lower. Looking at nickel, down 1.5%. Looking at this pattern, we squeezed up, we broke to the downside. We usually get kind of a return move, and then it rolls back over. And I do think we're going to head back down here in that short term. So it's a high, a lower high, and then we'll see if we get a lower low, and then we're in a new downtrend down to probably this support level for nickel. Aluminum slightly higher today. We're right at support. We'll see if that support holds and if we can reverse this thing to the upside. If not, maybe we come back a little bit more on aluminum prices. We've got the Baltic Dry Index slightly lower today, 601. We're very low here. And I'm expecting a move to the upside with this falling wedge pattern before it. I think this will be a false breakout at some point and then reverse and head higher. And again, guys, I don't trade the short term. We're just doing this as updates. I do not trade anything on the short term. Here's the big move to the downside. This is following natural gas to some extent. It was up today, kind of diverging. But we had that large selling pressure sell-off. And you can see kind of a bigger picture view. Let me delete this, what I threw in here. And this is somewhat kind of a shoulder head shoulder. It's not really, though. You can kind of see that, and there's the neckline's all jacked up. But I do think this, with this selling pressure here, we could head lower in the short term for Newcastle coal futures. Ethereum slightly lower, and same with Bitcoin. Slightly lower, but still looks bullish to me. These are little bloody noses, or kind of larger bloody noses, I should say. Bloody noses are continuation patterns to the upside that I see. It's a big candlestick with a little down red candlestick next to it, but these red candlesticks are a little bit bigger. But that's what I've got for today, guys. I know I kind of blew through it pretty quick. Overall, though, I mean, oil looks really good. Precious metals look a little bit on the weak side. We could see further pullback there, which I'm okay with. Some of the other base metals, I think we still have a little bit more of a pullback left in it. The overall markets, like the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, they don't look that bad. I still think that we're going to grind on our way up. But yeah, I think we're just going to have a small pullback with some of these metals before heading higher. That's kind of what I see in the charts. And most of this time, like, you know, I don't trade in and out. I'm not a short-term trader. I just kind of look at stuff, try to buy where it's cheap. I'm hoping that we can stay down for a little while. Cheaper shares means that you get a better cost basis on companies if you're still buying. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.